Welcome, everyone, to the Naturalist sponsor Soundbyte. I'm Nancy Coulter-Parker, Director of Content Marketing at New Hope Network, and I'm here today with our Naturalist sponsor, Salt Spring Coffee, to hear their how they got started, how they differentiate themselves in the marketplace, and how their values drive sales. Now, let's get started. Our sponsor today is Salt Spring Coffee, and my guest is co-founder and president, Mickey McLeod. So Salt Spring Coffee was founded in 1996 on Salt Spring Island in British Columbia. And just as a point of reference, Salt Spring is part of the Gulf Islands, which are part of the larger archipelago that Washington, San Juan Islands are in. So, Mickey, could you tell us about Salt Spring Coffee?
Well, absolutely. And thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted. Well, Salt Spring Coffee, as I said, started in 1996, and it really was started out of a passion for coffee. Actually, my wife, Robin, and co-founder, grew up in California, the Bay Area, San Francisco. And when we first met in the early 70s, I ventured on a journey with her back to California, and she introduced me to some coffee. Went to Cafe Trieste in Little Italy. So we were both quite young at the time, and we sort of got a taste for good quality coffee. And ever since then, on our journey through life, we always had good coffee close by. And then in the 1994, sort of got more curious about coffee. And her mother lived in Eugene, Oregon, visited some Starbucks there. We bought a little book about home coffee roasting, bought the book, bought a little home coffee roaster, started roasting coffee at home, and then realized, maybe we could share this with our community. So we started, going through investigating that, and then ended up by opening a cafe on Salt Spring with a little shop roaster. And that was in 96. And then we were, very, very early on, nobody really knew what was going on. Like shop roasting, coffee roasting was really nothing that had happened in this part of the world. So we're fortunate enough to be very early on in the specialty coffee movement, always focused about organic and fair trade values. So there's a short version of how we got started.
And you either had to have been a love of coffee in there somewhere. Yeah,
well, definitely. It's a passion. We had the passion and the desire for coffee, for many, many years. So it was kind of a natural to get into it.
So, coffee consumption has grown, and today's consumers aren't simply looking for, the caffeine boost. And you mentioned values. They want a healthy beverage made from beans grown with ecosystems or community values, health in mind. Can you speak to how Salt Spring Coffee stands out among specialty brands for the approach that you take?
Well, certainly. I guess it's sort of partly, as I mentioned, Rob and I met in early 73 to be exact. And we both kind of grew up, around the counterculture movement of the late 60s, early 70s, and always sort of had those values close at heart. So when it came time to starting Salt Spring Coffee in 96, we wanted to make sure that those values were part of that. Certainly specialty coffee was there, but organic or any fair trade values coffee was very limited. So it was always something that we pushed hard for and was very front and center to what we did. So, it took quite a while, but working with our coffee traders and the supply chain, we always wanted to make sure that we had those. Because the thing with coffee, too, is it touches the lives of so many people. So it's a great tool for messaging. And, coffee is the second most largest traded commodity next to oil. So it's quite massive. And, there's an opportunity to really speak to those values. So we wanted to make sure that anything we did was wrapped around those basic values. And it's still true today.
And when you say, touches the lives of so many people, also touches the lives of the farm workers and the communities that live, right, by the coffee.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it obviously starts there. So the lives start there, working with coffee farmers, producers, cooperatives, traders, all the way through the supply chain. So that's, and then also out to the consumer. So it's a very vast, wide spectrum of people. And, it's pretty powerful what the impact can be. And, coffee has always often been a leader in changes in values. And so that's something I've always, has been pretty exciting. And I'm, constantly curious about things and improving and quality and people. So that's, Rob and I, my wife, co-founder, we both, it's pretty dear. It's been dear to our heart to make sure we're doing things right. since the beginning.
That's a gift. That's great. So I guess could you elaborate on why being organic was so important to your company? And then, how does it feel? What does it mean to be Canada's first regenerative organic certified coffee producer?
Well, certainly I'd say once again, I just sort of have to roll back to the values and, trying to do things as clean and as natural as possible. And certainly at the time and, wanting to do things with organic standards, that was sort of the only real tool or benchmark there was for the longest time. And, it used to be good. I'm not so impressed with organic standards anymore, honestly, just because they have gotten weakened over the years. And, some of the big players, even recent news about Appeal, a product that can get sprayed onto organic vegetables to help them from going on. To me, that's not great. And there's many things that have changed over the years, but these are a good set of standards that people can follow. And then the thing about it too is with organic farming is it's what you don't do is not what you do. So you don't use herbicides, you don't use pesticides. But with regenerative farming or practices, it's about what you do and enhancing the soil. And it's also got to do with communities and people. So, you were generating communities. So if you can have a really good, strong bond about, and everybody kind of working towards the right purpose, instead of just selling a product, you're actually including the whole community and then through the whole supply chain. So, we've, been on this mission for a while and it feels great. We've been I guess on the leading edge, bleeding edge many times and first to the market. And it feels quite rewarding to be the first Canadian regenerative certified coffee in Canada. There's still lots of work to do, but, we're there and we're charging away at it. But it's important. Regenerative agriculture is really important and on many, many fronts. And we're glad to be part of it in the coffee sector.
Well, and the key thing with that, regenerative organic certification is that you have to be organic to start.
Correct.
So you had done that groundwork,
yes,
and being able to move into the next level. What other certifications are important to the company?
Certifications are a blessing and a curse. A little bit, what I was saying earlier. They give consumers confidence that the product has gone through a process, but then going through the process is a little bit of the con and the challenge. And so that's the other side of it. But, we work with Fair for Life that deals with our fair trade standards. And one of the things we like about them is that they're not just certifying the product, but they actually, when we get our audit, they come and they interview some of our employees. And, so they're concerned about social aspects too, and not strictly product. So that's one thing we like about Fair for Life. And then we've got, obviously rock certification now, organic certified. We've come and gone with other certifications or licenses over the years.
Those are the key ones that you've
those are the
on.
key ones, and there's, we've done many and often, unfortunately, it's, these all cost money. And it ends up that they don't necessarily bring customers, to our door. So we've had to sort of over the years, okay, which ones are important. So certainly social values like Fair for Life, organic values, and rock would be the three main ones that we're working with now. And luckily, we've been in business for quite some time, almost 30 years, and we have a lot of trust with consumers, and that's a big part of it as well. Is just being open, fair, and honest with everybody. And that seems to go a long way with our supply chain. And just, if things don't work out well, then admit it, and make it better and just, always constantly looking for improvements.
How many SKUs do you have that are ROC certified and which ones are available in the U.S. now?
We have 4 right now. In the U.S., we've got 4. One of them it's called Regen Roast. It's sort of our lightest roast. Then we've got a French roast. We have Village Trade, which is one of our proprietary blends. And then we have another one, which is Blue Heron. So those last two, the Blue Heron and Village Trade, are our proprietary blends that we've had forever. So those are the 4 we have in the U.S. right now.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I guess just the last, question, why is being, ROC or rock, certified important for the future of coffee? What's, what do you think about that?
Well, I guess just rock in general is important in my opinion. And a lot of it has to do with really paying attention to soil health, which is kind of one of the foundational pieces of rock, instead of just, being organic. And the thing is, you can have monocropped organic now too, which is, once again, it's what you're not doing, but it's what you are doing that gets recognized. So just having real well paid attention to what's in the soil, and nutrient density is also kind of one of the key principles of rock. So obviously in food, like field crops or animals, having the proper care and nutrition that goes into the animal or the vegetable you're eating is actually very, it's important for consumption as well. And although, coffee is a little bit different as a beverage and it goes through quite a few processes, but still anything that a plant can absorb and then a human consumes, you're getting all that nutrient density. So if you've got really healthy soil, in the case of coffee, and it's nutrient dense, there's lots of microorganisms in the soil, then you consume it, there are benefits to that. So those are some of the real key principles about rock, is the nutrient density and caring for the soil instead of just selling a product that's got an organic certification on it. Organic certification is important, but taking it to the next level of rock is even more important. And it's really what I feel the world needs to focus on more, especially now with all the challenges that we're all facing. So rock's pretty important.
Well, thank you. I'm assuming, if someone can't find the coffee in the store near them, they can purchase it online.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
yes, saltspringcoffee.com.
Great. Well, my guest today has been Mickey McLeod, the co-founder and president of Salt Spring Coffee. Thank you so much for your time. And again, you can look for his coffee in a store near you or on saltspringcoffee.com. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again for having me. Appreciate that.